Good morning, everybody, our distinguished guests and honorable speakers. Welcome to our pavilion. Sorry for the delay. Thank you very much for your patience. Well, in case you found a booklet on your seat, please keep it. As one of our speaker will deliver his speech in Bahasa, so he's already specially prepared a booklet for your guidance. So with that, I would like to say thank you for your special consideration. Okay, let's get started. Our topic for this morning is about ASEAN Coordinating Center for Transboundary Haze Pollution Control towards FOLUNETSING 2030 and haze-free ASEAN by 2030. So forest fires are considered a threat to sustainable development. Peat fire produce smoke haze which has a negative impact on citizen lives. Following severe land and forest fires in late 90s, ASEAN member states signed the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution, or in short, AATHP, to control transboundary haze pollution. So Indonesia, with its experience, has a strong commitment to host ACCTHPC. So this session will discuss around the function of this organization, ACCTHPC, and its potential support, collaboration, as well as cooperation on forest and land fire management. The role of related stakeholders or partners or donors in supporting ACCTHPC, as well as the challenge on tackling haze issues in the region. So to commence our discussion, we will humbly invite our first keynote speaker. She's the Director General of Climate Change from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Republic of Indonesia, Ibu Ami Dewanti. Please give Ibu Ami a support by giving her a huge round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May the peace and the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you. Very good morning, and I do apologize because of my late arrival. The session was a bit delayed because today is the third day of the second week of COP28, and everything's are happening very fast. There are quite numbers of consultations, many other things. So again, my apologies for being late. Distinguished Dr. Agus Fatoni, the acting governor for South Sumatra province, Dr. Nur Masripatin, our senior advisors to the ministers of Environment and Forestry, my colleagues, Dr. Arda Sena, Deputy on Climatology, Indonesian Agency for Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics, Dr. Fong South, the head of Environment Division, ASEAN Secretariat, Mr. Faisal Faris, nice to meet you again. He's now the Director of Global Environmental Center. My colleagues, Pak Thomas, the Director of Forest and Land Fire. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is a true pleasure for me to welcome you all at the talk show. Role on ASEAN Coordinating Center for Transboundary Haze Pollution Control. Should not try to put it in acronym because it's too long. ACCTHPC toward FOLUNETSING 2030 and haze-free ASEAN by 2030. I'm very grateful for all the speakers for taking your time in a very busy schedule. And it's very challenging because we are now in the very interesting city of Dubai. But again, thank you for participating in this talk show. I also would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Nur Masripatin and all the Indonesian Pavilion team for supporting this event. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, 8 years ago, when our leaders committed to Paris Agreement, we are trying to ensure that by the end of the decade, the global temperature rising is now above 2 degrees Celsius. And we even try to emphasize or to try our best effort to even not exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius. So Indonesia, as part of the global community, we are very committed and we consistently doing our best effort. We know that the climate change and the forest and land fire are two phenomena that we are happening around the world, including Indonesia. Not mentioning the environmental pollutions, loss of biodiversity. And especially in ASEAN region, because ASEAN is very interesting region. We are in the same time a very potential region, as well as very vulnerable regions in terms of the climate change negative impact. And this year, we are experiencing a very severe, dry season. After 3 years in a row, we are experienced the La Nina effect. Now the El Nino effect is coming to this region. So in the context of forest fire, it is indeed very significant to be more prepared, to be more engaged, solidarity hand in hand in like we do in ASEAN, to ensure that this region will be survive and will be gain or winning the challenge that we are happening in nowadays. The forest fire has become more challenging from day to day as Indonesia and other ASEAN member states committed. If I would like to quote one of the statement by our leaders back in the ASEAN summit this year, that in ASEAN will be continue to do its effort, the best effort in dealing with the current challenges, the triple crisis challenge that we are facing now, namely environmental pollutions, loss of biodiversity, as well as the climate change. In this year, Indonesia 2030 ASEAN Chairmanship with the theme of ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth, underscore ASEAN's commitments to ensure that its continued relevance, resilience, and effectiveness, and as well as responsiveness to the future regional and global challenges. And its vision to be the center and driver of economic growth in the regions and beyond. The establishment of this center, the ACCT-HPC, is one of the deliverables during the ASEAN's chairmanship. Only 2 days ago, here in this pavilion, we are talking about other deliverables, including the ASEAN Platform on Community-Based Climate Action, ASEAN Center for Climate Change, and this center will be one of these remarkable deliverables of this year's ASEAN chairmanship. And Indonesia, as the host of this center, will continue to commit it to ensure that this center will be operationalized soon, as well as will contribute benefit to the regions. We realized that in order to address the forest and land fires challenge, no single country could face this problem themselves without cooperating and coordinating with other stakeholders, other countries, or other agencies. So this is one of the reasons why the ASEAN Center, Coordinating Center for Transboundary Haze Pollution Control is important for the ASEAN region. It has a function to increase cooperation and coordination among ASEAN member states to address the forest and land fire problems, as well as to contribute the significant reduction of greenhouse gas emission in the region. So in this talk show, we're going to hear from the respective speakers on how they're going to put their best effort in addressing the land and forest fire in Indonesia, in their region, in their jurisdiction. And we hope that we also listen and learn from all the participants that how you your experiences, your lesson learned, and how you're gonna to be part of our joint effort in this center. So again, as we do in ASEAN, we will jointly hand in hand to address the most challenging happen of this century, which is the climate change. So to conclude, I hope that we all will have a very interesting and very fruitful discussion, and should not forget that the most important of a session of a talk show is exactly to walk the talk itself. I thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Ami, for the reminder, as well as, of course, your time to squeeze in some time in between your busy schedule to deliver a keynote for all of us today. Okay, as Ibu Ami mentioned earlier, tomorrow will be our last day. We're going to say goodbye to this charming pavilion. But we're truly honored that we have the presence of some esteemed guests in the audience today. He is the acting governor of South Sumatra Province, Indonesia. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Agus Fatoni.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished figure, ladies and gentlemen. Her Excellency Ibu Laksmi Damayanti, Direktur Jenderal Perubahan Iklim, Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan. The Honorable Head of Environment Division, Asian Secretariat, Mr. Dr. Fang Sok, and Director of the Global Environment Center Malaysia, Mr. Faisal Paris. Yang kami hormati penasihat senior Menteri LHK Republik Indonesia, bidang perubahan iklim dan konvensi internasional, Ibu Dr. Nus Masripatin, dan juga Direktur Penanggulangan Kebakaran Hutan dan Lahan, Kementerian LHK, Bapak Thomas Nivin Luri, dan juga Deputi Klimatologi, Badan Meteorologi, Klimatologi dan Geofisika Republik Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Ardasena Sopaheluwakan. On behalf of the South Sumatra government, I would like express my gratitude to be a part of the prestigious event. Let's make this forum as a sharing section to share our expertise, experience, and hopes in creating a better world. As we all know, Indonesia has strong commitment and contribution in preventing and overcoming forest and land fires problem. The national regulation has been made as guidelines for local government, including South Sumatra. Ladies and gentlemen, in the section I will share our experience that has been done in South Sumatra as a collaboration between government, local government, Indonesian police, armies, companies, NGO, and local citizen, including fire care community atau masyarakat peduli api. I will be using bahasa Indonesia, but the slide will present it in English. Sumatera Selatan merupakan salah satu provinsi yang ada di Indonesia. Dari 38 provinsi, salah satunya adalah Sumatera Selatan. Sumatera Selatan memiliki 17 kabupaten kota. Di antaranya adalah 13 kabupaten dan 4 kota dengan luas wilayah kurang lebih 86.769,34 km jumlah penduduknya saat ini lebih kurang 8,7 juta jiwa. Secara tipologi, lahan di Sumatera Selatan terdiri dari lahan gambut seluas 1.277.116 hektar atau sekitar 14,7%, dan lahan non-gambut seluas lebih kurang 7.399.818 hektar atau sekitar 85,3% dari total wilayah yang ada di Sumatera Selatan. Berdasarkan tingkat kerawanan kebakaran hutan dan lahan, lebih kurang 75% lahan dan hutan di wilayah Sumatera Selatan masuk dalam kategori rawan terjadinya kebakaran. Tingkat kerawanan tinggi dan juga sangat tinggi. Mengacu pada data hotspot yang muncul pada tahun-tahun terjadinya fenomena El Nino di Sumatera Selatan, yaitu tahun 2015, tahun 2019, dan tahun 2023, terlihat adanya penurunan jumlah hotspot yang signifikan. Pada tahun 2015 jumlah hotspot tercatat 27.043 titik. Kemudian menurun pada tahun 2019 menjadi 23.818 titik, dan pada tahun 2023 turun menjadi 19.849 titik. Kondisi ini sangat menggembirakan dan menjadi indikasi keberhasilan upaya pencegahan kebakaran lahan dan hutan yang efektif dilakukan di Provinsi Sumatera Selatan. Secara paralel, kecenderungan penurunan yang sama juga terjadi pada luas kebakaran hutan dan lahan di Sumatera Selatan. Sebagai gambaran, pada tahun terjadinya El Nino di tahun 2015, areal yang terbakar mencapai luasan 6.308.582 hektar, mengalami penurunan pada tahun 2019 menjadi 317.885 hektar, dan kembali berkurang sangat signifikan menjadi 109.460 hektar pada tahun 2023 ini. Data ini menunjukkan bahwa adanya keberhasilan upaya pemadaman kebakaran hutan dan lahan yang dilakukan oleh semua pihak secara kolaboratif dan koordinatif di Provinsi Sumatera Selatan. Apabila dicermati dari data sebaran asap berdasarkan arah angin yang dikeluarkan oleh lembaga-lembaga resmi, terlihat bahwa tidak terjadi pergerakan asap yang melintasi batas negara yang berada di sekitar Sumatera Selatan maupun yang berada di Sumatera. Hal ini ditunjukkan dari gambaran sebaran asap pada puncak kemarau di Sumatera Selatan pada bulan Oktober hingga November 2023. Berbagai upaya pengendalian kebakaran hutan dan lahan telah dilakukan dan menunjukkan komitmen yang kuat Provinsi Sumatera Selatan selaku local government terhadap komitmen penanganan kebakaran hutan dan lahan melalui berbagai kegiatan, baik monitoring, pencegahan, kesiapsiagaan, kemudian penanganan, penganggaran, dan termasuk juga penegakan hukum. Terkait dengan upaya monitoring, pemerintah Provinsi Sumatera Selatan bersama stakeholder terkait dalam upaya pengendalian karhutla telah menggunakan dan melakukan inovasi dengan memanfaatkan aplikasi Songket Sumsel, yaitu Sistem Operasi Pengendalian Kebakaran Hutan dan Lahan Terpadu Provinsi Sumatera Selatan, yang ini merupakan suatu sistem informasi berbasis web GIS untuk deteksi dini karhutla. Aplikasi ini merupakan hasil karya pemerintah Provinsi Sumatera Selatan sendiri, yang mana melalui Songket Sumsel ini pengambilan keputusan dalam pencegahan dan pemadaman serta penegakan hukum karhutla di Provinsi Sumatera Selatan menjadi sangat efektif dan efisien karena lebih murah, lebih mudah, lebih cepat, dan tepat sasaran. Upaya peningkatan kesiapsiagaan juga telah dilakukan dengan mengeluarkan berbagai kebijakan terkait dengan karhutla di Sumsel, antara lain penetapan status siaga darurat bencana asap Karhutla tahun 2023 dengan keputusan gubernur. Juga pembentukan pos komando Satgas siaga darurat bencana asap akibat Karhutla juga dengan SK gubernur dan diketuai langsung oleh Gubernur Sumatera Selatan. Upaya kesiapsiagaan lainnya dilakukan dengan secara rutin melakukan apel kesiapsiagaan dalam pengecekan personil dan peralatan, dalam pengendalian Karhutla bersama TNI, kemudian dengan Polri, dan kepentingan lainnya beserta seluruh masyarakat. Sebagian dari upaya pencegahan dilakukan beberapa kali rapat koordinasi untuk percepatan pengendalian kebakaran hutan dan lahan dengan Forkopimda, dihadiri lengkap oleh Forkopimda Provinsi, Forkopimda Kabupaten Kota, dan juga pimpinan perusahaan, masyarakat peduli api, dan juga masyarakat terkait untuk kepentingan dan kebutuhan penanganan Karhutla sebagai skala prioritas. Ini dilakukan di tingkat provinsi, tingkat kabupaten kota, sampai dengan tingkat kecamatan dan desa. Selain itu dari kepolisian bersama dengan TNI, bersama dengan BPBD, Dinas Kehutanan, Pol PP, serta masyarakat juga melaksanakan beragam bentuk kegiatan sosialisasi, termasuk juga edukasi kepada masyarakat dalam rangka mengajak masyarakat agar tidak melakukan pembakaran lahan atau pembukaan lahan dengan cara membakar. Upaya pencegahan juga dilakukan oleh pemerintah provinsi, TNI Polri bersama pemerintah kabupaten kota, serta juga melakukan penyadaran dan pencegahan dini serta penyebaran maklumat terkait dengan larangan membuka lahan dengan cara membakar. Untuk perkuatan upaya pencegahan juga dilakukan penempatan personil dari berbagai kalangan, dari berbagai instansi, mulai dari personil BPBD, ini Badan Penanggulangan Bencana Daerah, TNI yaitu Babinsa, kemudian Polri, Babin Kamtipmas, Manggala Agni, Dinas Kehutanan, dan juga lembaga-lembaga lain di daerah-daerah yang rawan Karhutla, dan juga ditambah personil-personil TNI Polri dari daerah-daerah lain. Kegiatan patroli bersama secara terpadu juga dilakukan bersama-sama dengan TNI Polri, Manggala Agni, BPBD, Pol PP, pemerintah provinsi dan kabupaten kota untuk memperkuat upaya pencegahan kebakaran hutan dan lahan. Sementara untuk upaya penanganan telah dilaksanakan operasi TMC hujan buatan kurang lebih sebanyak 12 kali yang terus-menerus dilakukan dan dilakukan perpanjangan dari mulai Juni sampai dengan November. Dan kegiatan ini ditujukan untuk membasahi wilayah-wilayah yang sudah cukup lama tanpa hujan, terutama pada lahan gambut. Sementara untuk kegiatan pemadaman hutan, lahan terbakar juga dilakukan melalui pasukan darat secara terkoordinasi dalam satu komando oleh Subsatgas Operasi Darat. Kemudian untuk wilayah yang sulit dijangkau dan tidak ada akses masuk melalui darat sungai, maka dilakukan upaya pemadaman udara oleh Subsatgas Operasi Udara yang dikoordinasikan oleh TNI Angkatan Udara bersama pemerintah pusat, pemerintah provinsi, serta pihak swasta. Ada pula upaya penerapan kearifan lokal dalam rangka untuk menangani Karhutla ini, yaitu mengaktifkan Satgas atau Subsatgas Doa disebutnya untuk melakukan sholat istiqo. Memohon kepada Tuhan yang Maha Kuasa, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, untuk menurunkan hujan secara serentak, melibatkan seluruh unsur, dan ini dilakukan berkali-kali secara serentak pada hari Jumat dan hari-hari berikutnya, termasuk oleh masyarakat, pesantren, masjid-masjid, di instansi pemerintah, provinsi, kabupaten, kota, kecamatan, dan desa untuk berdoa meminta hujan. Dan alhamdulillah bersama doa dengan usaha ini menghasilkan hujan yang cukup signifikan di Sumatera Selatan. Pada sisi lain juga dilakukan pengelolaan prioritas penggunaan anggaran melalui skema belanja tidak terduga. Pada saat saya menjabat Gubernur Sumatera Selatan, Bu Dirjen banyak mengeluhkan anggaran daerahnya tidak ada. kebetulan saya di Jakarta sebagai Dirjen Keuangan Daerah, maka kita sampaikan bahwa boleh dilakukan pergeseran anggaran dengan menggunakan belanja tidak terduga untuk penanganan karhutla ini. Alhamdulillah provinsi dan kabupaten kota melakukan pergeseran anggaran sehingga anggarannya cukup untuk penanganan karhutla ini. Terhadap pelaku pembakaran dan hutan dan lahan juga telah dilakukan penegakan hukum yang konsisten oleh aparat penegak hukum baik dari Polda, kemudian Gakum KLHK-RI bersama juga Kejaksaan. Dan juga ada inovasi di Sumatera Selatan, ada gel yang digunakan untuk lahan-lahan gambut sehingga bisa menutup pori-pori gambut yang terbakar sehingga kalau sudah terbakar tidak bisa menyebar di lahan gambut yang ada di Sumatera Selatan. Berdasarkan upaya yang sudah dilakukan oleh pemerintah provinsi, seperti yang tadi sudah dijelaskan, maka Sumatera Selatan siap untuk mendukung penuh implementasi AATPHP sebagai bagian dari local government. Pemerintah provinsi juga siap untuk bisa atau siap untuk berharap beroperasinya ACC THPC agar bisa dilaksanakan dan juga best practice dan kerjasama dalam pengendalian karhutla dalam mitigasi kabut asap dan lintas batas negara ASEAN dapat lebih ditingkatkan hingga ke tingkat lokal. Mudah-mudahan AACT HPC yang harus ditandatangani oleh 10 negara itu bisa segera diimplementasikan. Demikian, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bapak Fatoni, for the insightful presentation. And thank you once again for the commitment and, of course, support for ACC THPC. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a mouthful for me. Well, we believe under your leadership, South Sumatra will continue to cooperate with the ministry in controlling forest and land fires to mitigate the cross-border haze and pollution within ASEAN. Okay, we have heard two perspectives from both central and local government. So let's have a discussion on what we can do moving forward. So with that, I would like to invite our moderator for the session. She's the Senior Advisor to the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Please welcome Ibu Nur Masripatin.
Thank you. Good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Gubernur Sumatera Selatan, Ibu Dirjen Perubahan Iklim, Bapak Ibu semuanya, good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. We have listening the keynote speech from the Director General of Climate Change and from the Governor of South Sumatra on the lesson learned and what the South Sumatra province has been doing, also the commitment to support the ACCTHPC. This is very important for us. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN Coordinating Center on Transboundary Haze Pollution Control is a reflection of the long journey of ASEAN member states in agreeing the establishment of the center. ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution was signed in 2002 and entered into force in 2003. Later, it was agreed that Indonesia hosting the center. It took us so many years to agree, to negotiate on the establishment of the center. The establishment agreement finally was endorsed in August 2003, this year, during the chairmanship of Indonesia, the ASEAN chairmanship for Indonesia. Today at this session, we would like to share with all participants about the center, and we would like also to use this opportunity to explore potential collaboration with international community. We have four speakers who will share with us interesting topic related to the center. First, I would like to introduce Bapak Thomas Nivin Luri, the Director of Land and Forest Fire Management, Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Indonesia. The second speaker will be Dr. Fong Sok, the Head of Division, Assistant Director of Sustainable Development, ASEAN Secretariat. The third, Dr. Ardas Sena, Deputy Head for Climatology at the Agency for Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics of Indonesia. The fourth, Pak Faisal Paris, the Director of the Global Environment Center. Now I would like to invite all speakers to join with me here. Thank you. Considering that we have to be disciplined with the time management, we have about 35 minutes and we need to leave 5 minutes at the end. It means we have 30 minutes for presentation and discussion. So apology to the speakers that I have to reduce the allocated time for presentation from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. So please convey your key messages and we will invite a question from the floor. So first I would like to invite Pak Thomas. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me the opportunity, distinguished guests and colleagues. The title of my presentations is to share lessons learned in managing forest and land fire that may contribute to reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and to avoid transponder air pollution, and how the role of ACC will be managed in the Asian region. To start with, let me share the national policy. Let me share the national policy of forest and land fire management. Indonesia applied 3 pillars. First, prevention aspect. Secondly, suppression, and then post-fire management. Since 2015, the main focus of forest and land fire management is mainstreaming of fire prevention, covering a proper policy and regulation, early warning system development, improving local people participations, as we know as the fire care community, and implementation of cloud seeding technology. For suppression aspect, a task force is set up in the province level to carry out ground fire suppression and also the waterbombing, as our acting governors just share experience and learning in South Sumatra province in Indonesia. While post-fire aspect, burn area measurement and law enforcement are also conducted. In prevention, in focusing a new paradigm of forest fire management, Indonesia has been developing a monitoring system for about 25 years. Since 1997 up to 2011, monitoring of forest and land fire is carried out in a one-way communication system, for instance, by using media of radio, faxmail, and also email. However, since 2014, when an information system called Sipongi was launched, a fully automatic system were applied and followed by dual interface and social media practices, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, also YouTube, as a communication strategy. And the utilization of hotspots, NASA, Terra Aqua, SNPP. And within the last 2 years, the use of ACE-HP, automatic online-based reporting and company reporting were also applied. Besides monitoring hotspot, Sipongi also equipped with the early detection called a fire danger rating system that can be identified by using fine, moisture count, and draft count as an indicator. The risk assessment of forest and land fire in the Asian region, called as PATAN, Integrated and Interactive Forest Fire Warning System. This was developed by a National Agency for Climate and Meteorology in Indonesia, or BMKG. The FDRS service is also provided by our colleagues from Malaysia in the region. And another monitoring instrument that used as reference is peatland monitoring system. This system is specifically monitoring peat groundwater level on a bi-weekly basis from about 10,000 manual monitoring points covering almost 3.6 million hectares of peatland area. In terms of fire-prone village target, prevention action also carried out by Manggala Agni, the Forest Fire Brigade, jointly patrol with Indonesia Police and Army and local community in approximately 4,000 fire-prone villages throughout Indonesia. The patrol team used is Sipongi, the early warning system database, such as hotspot distributions. And concerning the Manggala Agni Fire Brigade existence, at present our Forest Fire Brigade, Manggala Agni, consists of almost 2,000 persons distributed in 34 districts, fire stations in Sumatra, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi region. One of entity in handling forest and land fire management is fire care community who live in fire-prone villages. One group fire care community consists of 15%. The community were grouped as a representative of local community, and most of them are youngsters and practicing land preparation without burning, sustainable agriculture, and also agroforestry practices. In the pillars of suppression of fire, the second pillar of forest and land fire management, in case of massive fire encounter, the combination of ground suppression and water bombing is carried out by task force at the province level, and subsequently mopping up to make sure the fire is fully controlled. And for the post-fire management, at least two main activities are conducted, notably law enforcement and burn area calculation. Law enforcement is carried out by the team from the DG of Law Enforcement in collaboration with Indonesian police, while burn area calculation is conducted by an integrated team using Citra Lancet data, Sentinel, hotspot, and fire spot data. How about the contribution at regional? With the lesson learned, we experienced Indonesia support by all ASEAN member states is very confident in hosting the center of the ACC-THPC. As has been mandated in Article 5 of the agreement, the purpose of the center is to facilitating and coordinating among parties in managing the impact of forest and wildfire. The center also should provide assistance once needed, and the committee should oversee the operation of the center. The role of ACC, besides carrying out the main tasks, besides carrying out its maintenance to facilitate and to coordinate the preparedness of the impact of forest and land fire, the center should also assist to ASEAN member states if needed, maintain exchange informations, expertise, technology, and know-how among parties. Other tasks of the centers are to maintain and exploring potential partners for funding, providing equipment and technical facilities, and maintain experts within and outside of the ASEAN regions. In the governance structure of ACC, the centers is chaired by an executive director and responsible for managing 3 divisions: monitoring, assessments, and joint emergency response, technical cooperations, and information and knowledge management. The head of division will technically conducting their role and function according to the main tasks, and executive director will report to the committee and seeking advice for actions. In terms of process of establishment of ACC, there has been a long process of negotiation of the establishment ACC with the ASEAN Haze Agreement in 2003, and then the intention of Indonesia to host the center endorsed at the decision COP11 in 2015 in Hanoi, Vietnam. Since 2016, the series of negotiations with ASEAN member states conducted and in August 2023, and the establishment agreement on ACC was endorsed during a meeting in Vietnam, Lao PDR, and finally adopted and launched at the 43rd ASEAN Summit, September 2023 in Jakarta, Indonesia. For that, we're thanking ASEAN Secretariat that continuously support and facilitating the negotiation process for the establishment of the center, and appreciation also goes to all member states that committed and cooperations. To conclude, we hope the center could provide contribution in managed forest and land fire, regional and global, at the same time to increase close collaborations among member states in reducing greenhouse gases in the region that reflect to the achievement of NDC of member states, in particular to achieve target of follow and haze-free ASEAN 2030. The challenge of the center remains relevant to explore potential partners in providing sustainable finance to meet above goals of the center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pa Thomas. I hope that the center will operationalize soon. The second, I would like to invite Dr. Fong Sok.
Thank you very much, Ibu, and very good morning to all of distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the most important message today. It's by the Bapak Governor of South Sumatra. Yeah, South Sumatra. That provide important sort of commitment and with a long sort of achievement. You track down from 2015 until now. This is not a normal. The local government made a significant achievement and commitment. This is one of, the proud of ASEAN to see this great leadership from the local, this uniqueness. So now I'm talking here about this, the ASEAN Center, ACCT-HPC, and the potential support for operationalization of ACCT-HPC. And this about also, I would like to highlight the linkages to this sort of climate change sort of opportunity. So, like Pak Thomas highlights about ASEAN Agreement Transboundary Haze, and also this also highlight about the standard operating procedure for monitoring, assessment, and emergency response, challenge and opportunity in that respect. So I may not be talk more because this is about the haze issue, and you may learn that haze is about the seasonal sort of climate change issue. It happened during the dry season. That the time it's really critical when it comes to El Nino come to the region. This is the thing that come more serious. And then, of course, the impact of haze is significant. It's from economic, health, and also from other aspects of economic activity. This is the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze. You see the objective is clear: to prevent, monitor, mitigate land and forest fire, to control the transboundary haze pollution throughout the concerted national effort, regional and international cooperation. So with that, I would like to highlight that the ACCTHPC, a center who's in charge to implement and to coordinate this ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze. So with that, the role is quite important to contribute to prevent, monitor, mitigate, and so on and so forth, as shown in this agreement. This institutional structure of the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution, you see the yellow line. It's a ministerial level that come from the what we call contracting of the party, a conference of the party, and then the committee, and then go to the pitland. And then both sides, you have the purple color. That's for the northern and southern sub-region because of the seasonal difference between the north and the south region, where we have to come up with different sort of arrangement in order to respond on time, whatever the transboundary happen at each side of the sub-regional. Now, this ASEAN Center on ASEAN Coordinating Center for Transboundary Haze. So currently operated by ASEAN Secretary Interim ACC, but in collaboration also with ASEAN Specialized Meteorological Center, and also we use also the MUD Malaysia for fire danger rating system, and close collaboration with National Monitoring Center. So in order to implement this agreement, we have a number of guiding documents. That is a policy document. One of the things about roadmap, the haze-free roadmap, we have a new version, 2023 to 2030, the Asian peatland management strategy, we have the root cause of the haze issue, and then the SOP, standard operating procedure, to guide how to implement the ASEAN agreement. So this to show you what the SOP look like, tell you about how the thing can start and can coordinate. And this is the mechanism for monitoring, assessment, and joint emergency response as well. So I flashed this because all the reference material available online, and I leave the opportunity for you to have more questions instead. So all this about the way it's SOP inform about the current practice for monitoring and assessment. So, but the ACC in interim term, I think we have some challenge and constraint because of the data is not complete and so on and so forth. And we have a minimal sort of level of team to make this interim ACC work. So the opportunity with the support here and there to operationalize of the center. But I mean, in the near, here the reference material for you to access about the haze portal. So if you need that information. And there's knowledge, as a part of knowledge repository, also all the information available there. I think I end here, but I would like to highlight why this center is quite important. The center, I mean, it contributes to the prevention. How this involve? I mean, involve all that sort of mapping, involve all that sort of stock taking, and also involve all that sort of coordination. So with that center, not only working with ASEAN Secretariat, but working with all ASEAN Center, working with all member states, working with local our National Monitoring Center in coordination with the local authority, and importantly, working with any partner, international, regional, and so on. This would be opportunity to look at the different sort of opportunity that partner may have, including the investment framework and also other opportunity from the climate lens. That could be important because of when we address the haze issue, it means that we manage well the peatland, we manage well that the sustainable practice land and forestry as well. So with that, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fong Sok, for the presentation and also for the very well time management. The next, I would like to invite Dr. Ardasena to give the presentation.
Thank you, Ibu Nur. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to everyone. I would like to speak about our support, the Agency for Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics, in supporting the function of and the operation of the ACC-THPC in monitoring the fire as well as monitoring the greenhouse gas emission from fires. And we are a great supporter for the operationalization of the ASEAN Center or the ACC-THPC. So 2 parts about my presentation. First is our services related with forest fire monitoring and prediction. And the second part will be about the greenhouse gas monitoring as well as the initiative that are currently undertaking in the agency. So we have several services related with forest fire monitoring and prediction. Adopting this timeline from nowcasting, from real-time observation. So I have to compete with the neighbor, sorry. As well as to the coming days, to the time scale of weeks, as well as the seasonal time scale. We have a suite of services that employs satellite technology, model technology, as well as some further advanced modeling. So from real-time observation for hotspot monitoring, the FDRS, which we are familiar, and also the seasonal timescale forest fire risk prediction. This has been mentioned by Pak Thomas as well. We are using several satellites to monitor in almost real time the occurrence of hotspots using Himawari, for instance, FIRS, using NPP, etc. And for the daily up to weekly time scale, we have this forest fire danger rating system, or the FDRS, which is operated and updated twice daily, actually up to a weekly time scale. And to add for the longer time scale, we have this seasonal scale. So seasonal meaning a monthly time scale up to 6 month lead time. Seasonal scale forest fire risk prediction. And if you see this prediction from this year, we have been quite actually accurate in predicting the risk of this year forest fire. So the area which is colored in yellow are the areas which we highlighted as a very highly potential for fire. And you see, even starting from April, we got it quite right that this the climate in 2023, the season as well as the occurrence of El Nino will have quite an impact on the fire occurrence in Indonesia. Also, we have air quality modeling. So, for instance, we can monitor well and simulate the biomass AOD, or the aerosol optical depth, simulating the dispersion of biomass particulate, and as well as, for instance, other pollutants such as PM 2.5, as well as the CO, or the carbon monoxide, as a tracer of the forest fire. And for our approach on estimating greenhouse gas emission, this graph is actually presenting an inconvenient truth of the work that we are doing, is that since in Rio, since Kyoto, and also since Paris, we see this greenhouse gas concentration globally keep on increasing. And actually the climate and also the adverse impact responds to the greenhouse gas concentration. It does not respond to the commitments of the greenhouse gas reduction, but rather to the actual concentration that has been taken place in the atmosphere. And how well do we actually understand the overall CO2 budget? So for the top level global budget is quite well understood. We can use global measurements, we can use satellite. But the uncertainties from the fluxes are still quite high, especially the land use parts and also the natural sinks. So the message is to understand our future climate, we also have to understand the whole carbon cycle. And to cope with that, we have the vision of this implementing of the overall carbon monitoring through atmosphere and as well as ocean monitoring in Indonesia. We have built several towers too for the time being in Sumatra. For instance, one you see here is 100 meters tall greenhouse gas monitoring in West Sumatra. And we have the vision to cover most of important area in Indonesia using this system. And one derived benefit, for instance, we can estimate the emission of CO2 from forest fires through the combination of these in situ measurements from satellite and as well as from model. One way of example, for instance, this historical event from 2019 where we can estimate the emission from forest fire event. So the way forward, we will continue in employing this in situ measurements in Sumatra and Kalimantan. And also, the way forward is, so for ACC, THPC, BMKG is very well ready to support the operationalization with technical information, with weather services, with climate information that are suitable and also relevant to the operationalization of the center. And we would like also to continue the support with this comprehensive monitoring of the whole carbon budgeting in the country. So for that, I think I would like to conclude, Ibu Nur. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Ardesena, for sharing the progress and the contribution from the agency, and also for good management of time. So the next, I would like to invite Pak Faris.
Good morning, everyone. So I will give a short presentation. Time is very short, so and we'll focus on introducing a new framework adopted by ASEAN in August. That's the ASEAN Investment Framework for Haze-Free Sustainable Land Management. And this is intended to complement the work of the ACC and the existing roadmap for haze-free ASEAN and other plans by helping to leverage resources from a broad range of stakeholders, from international, from private sector, from investors and others to support the action to prevent and control fires and associated transboundary haze. So I think everyone is well aware about the issues of transboundary haze, but maybe not everyone from Indonesia is aware that there is similar but actually even more severe problems in the northern part of ASEAN, in the Mekong sub-region. There have been earlier this year, you can see very extensive fires, very large smoke clouds covering 5 countries, 1.2 million people hospitalized, so it's quite a severe situation in the north. But the origin of the smoke is different to the south. It's more from the burning of agricultural residuals and some other land clearing, but other similar solutions, but different solutions are needed in that region. So it's been a quite severe haze in the northern ASEAN, affecting many people and companies. Overall, haze has been having a very severe economic, social, and environmental impact. with more than 70 million people significantly impacted by the smoke, 50 million hectares of land which is fire prone in the region, up to $35 billion just in 1 year alone, estimated in Indonesia, and hundreds of billions overall. So to address this very severe impact, it's important to encourage multiple investment, multiple financing, which if we can stop the fire and haze, then it's a very cost-effective way. So that is why ASEAN has developed this ASEAN investment framework for haze-free sustainable land management to bring together different multiple stakeholders and to support the implementation of the ASEAN peatland management strategy, the ASEAN haze-free roadmap, and various national plans and strategies. So to do that in a coordinated way and building on the existing plans and programs. It's also very much aligned with the national emission reduction targets in the NDCs of the member states, and it's aimed to build on an integrated approach. There are 5 key objectives. They're in this leaflet, which will be available at the back at the end of the meeting, so I won't go into detail. But one of the critical areas is to expand use of sustainable haze-free practices in the agriculture and commodity sector, and to engage better the commodity whole cycle to drive haze-free production practices, as well as to the objective 4, to integrate fire and haze prevention into sustainable financing frameworks. ASEAN has made a lot of progress with the ASEAN taxonomy on sustainable finance, and to integrate resources to sustainable land management into the commercial banks and other financing mechanisms is a very key way forward to eliminate the haze. So indicative, based on the feedback from the member states and various analysis, we've identified about $2.2 billion of critical, immediate priority investment and funding that is needed across the region, including to support the work of the ACC and action at the country levels. We've already identified about just below $1 billion of existing and pipeline activities that are aligned with this area, and we'll be working over the coming months to really link up with these pipeline and plan projects, as well as identifying critical gaps that need to be filled with additional finance. So just the next steps, the process is ongoing. The initiative was endorsed in August in the process of ASEAN establishing a task force and development team to facilitate the implementation phase and have a detailed implementation plan and portfolio projects, and then to work with the different member states as well as the ACC and the ASEAN Secretariat to advance this in a timely way, as well as organize a range of consultation meetings with interested stakeholders. So I'd just like to call on those attending the meeting today physically and online, if there are those who are interested to learn more, this information is available online at ASEAN Secretariat, and for those who want copies can get it here, and to engage with the Secretariat and others and build together a coordinated profile, fill in the key gaps, and define new and innovative finance ways to address in a win-win way climate change, transboundary haze, as well as sustainable land management. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pak Faisal. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we don't have time to take up a question, but I would like to recall from our team. The theme of our session today is ACC-THPC towards Indonesia Volunetzing 2030 and ASEAN Free Haze also 2030. With that, from the presentation that we are following, Indonesia is vulnerable to climate change as well as prone to forest and land fire. We saw the commitment as reflected from the presentation and also the speech from Excellency South Sumatra Governor. And also the support from ASEAN Secretariat, partners, and the good news is about ASEAN Investment Framework, where we have a framework to mobilize resources. This is the key messages that I could take up from the session today. And I would like to request all of us to join me to give a big applause to our speakers and to Excellency South Sumatra Governor for being with us till the end of the session. With that, I will give back the floor to MC. Thank you very much.